You are listening to the best, the only place to be on Tuesday night. That's right, you're listening to The Right Stuff, and you're at the right place at the right time. From England to Canada, from Detroit to the Poconos, we are showcasing Christian authors worldwide, giving you tips, tools, techniques, and resources for you, the writer, to hone and perfect your craft. Tune in every Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time right here on WPJC 104.5. And your host, Parker J. Cole.
Hi, and welcome to the show. I am so excited you are here with me today with your girl, the queen, Parker J. Let me tell you, it has been an absolutely wonderful day today. I hope your day has gone well as mine have. But you know what? What I'm so excited about today's show is that we're going to be talking about a father's love. And so often we forget that men love just as hard as women. They love just as strongly as women. And when it comes to their children, they love them even more. And so I'm really looking forward to hearing about male love without the other kind of romantic stuff, but male love from a male author's point of view. And I'm looking forward to talking to my guest, Andre Ray, today. And we'll be doing that in just a few moments. So if you want to call in and weigh in, you can by calling in at 646-668-8485, and then press 1 to be live on air. Or hit me on Twitter at Parker J. Cole, #RightStuff, with your questions and comments. We're going to go ahead and take a quick short break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Don't go anywhere. More with Parker and her guests on the Right Stuff Radio Show. We'll be right back.
Are you a reader looking for more compelling Christian fiction? Maybe something a little more edgy or a bit more real? Are you tired of most Christian fiction shying away from the truth and settling for a rose-tinted view of the world and its issues? Or are you an author who has a compelling story to tell, but you're afraid it doesn't jive with today's brand of Christian or secular fiction? Are you tired of Christian publishers telling you that your content is too edgy? Or maybe you've tried submitting your content under the radar to secular publishers only to be told your themes are a bit too religious? We invite you to take a look at the Crossover Alliance. We are an online publishing company that specializes in edgy Christian speculative fiction with Christian themes and real-world content. Our company is formed from authors and readers just like you who are breaking into the mainstream and Christian markets with this compelling genre. Head over to the www.thecrossoveralliance.com for all the details on who we are, what we do, and what we accept. Right now, if you sign up for our email newsletter, you'll receive a free digital copy of our first short story anthology. Check us out today and help us spread the word about the Crossover Alliance, where light shines brighter in the darkness.
If you are an author looking to gain visibility for your books, then AuthorShout.com is the place to go. We have a wide variety of affordable products and services to include a member zone that will help you get the word out about your books. Our team here at AuthorShout.com specializes in creating stunning digital products to include book banners, teaser videos, book trailers, book covers, and a whole lot more. So what are you waiting for? Stop by AuthorShout.com today and let our team connect you with a world of new readers.
We're back, and you're hanging out with the queen of Tuesday night, Parker J. and her guests, right here on The Right Stuff.
Hi, and welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Right Stuff on WPJC 104.5. Again, so glad you are here with me today. I want to definitely give a shout-out to Author Shout. They have been so helpful with promoting my book. So you hear that ad, make sure you visit their website to see what they can do for you. One thing I've noticed with Author Shout is that when they put promos out there for my books, I always get retweets, I always get exposure. So I really want to give a shout out to Author Shout for their services. Make sure you head over to their website and see what they can do for you, because they always help me out. And like I said before the break, we're going to get into this story about a father's love. never letting go. And as I said before the break, men love just as hard, just as strong, and just as fanatic as women do. And I'm looking forward to talking about this from a male perspective with my guest co-host and contributor today, Andre Ray. He has a lot of novels for you to choose from, so make sure you go to my brother's site today and get a copy of his books. They're available on Amazon.com or wherever books are sold. And so without further ado, I want to introduce my guest co-host and contributor today, Andre Ray. Andre, how you doing today?
Hi, Parker. How are you?
I'm fine. So glad we finally connected. I think we connected probably back in, would you say July, maybe even early as May. I think we connected then. And I was looking forward to our show, and now it's here. It always goes so fast. You know what I mean, Andre?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, it seemed like the time flies, but I just want to say it has been a blessing just to connect with you. I mean, you have truly been an inspiration and a positive influence in what I do, and just, as an author and as a person. So the work you're doing is just great.
I appreciate that, Andre. I know I was so happy when I found your books, because I was looking to showcase more African-American male authors. Not that there aren't out there, but I just wanted to showcase more African-American male authors, as though you came up as an answer to prayer, so I'm really excited about that. And I like how your books touch on real issues that face the church and face Christians every day. And it's no exception with your book, Never Letting Go of Father's Love. To my listeners out there, make sure you get a copy of this today. You will not be disappointed. I enjoyed Andre's story. We're going to touch on it in just a few moments. Before that, Andre, I can always read a bio, and I say this all the time. I can always read a bio, but you go ahead and tell us about yourself in your own words.
Well, basically, I am a born-again Christian, love the Lord, just a godly man, godly husband, godly father. I was born in New York, raised in North Carolina, so I called North Carolina home. I just love it here. Raised my kids here. Been in church for over 20, 30 years. Been a deacon in the church. Just love being around. Just the gospel of the people. In the gospel, I just love people in general. Had many years of public service, just dealing with different people, different in every situation, good, bad, and the ugly. And it was my wife that really got me started into writing. I thank God for her. Because I had no idea that that I could even write, much less write 7 books and counting, and that's about my open statement.
You think about, you kind of look at, you go, where have I come from and where am I going? You're not quite sure, but you thank the Lord for those steps that he gives us along the way, that each step he's taking with us, you see it. And I like how you said, you give thanks to your wife because you didn't even know you had this talent in you, and then you do. And then you find that you're doing that, not just you, but other people also like what you write. And so I want you to speak to that really quickly about how does it feel to find out that this talent that was in you has always been in you, and that the Lord allows you to use that talent. We're not just talking about writing, even though this is focused on writing, but just any talent that God gives you. How did that feel for you as someone who didn't know they had it, and then to find that they do have it and that others agree?
Well, that's a good question. I'm just going to be honest about it. All my life, and this may strike people, because growing up, I actually grew up in a home as a Jehovah's Witness, believe it or not. And then when I was 9, I had converted to being a Christian, and ever since then, all my life, people have just spoken over my life, and everybody, even strangers that I don't even know, would always tell me that there was something about me that I should be just a minister or preacher or something, and I always, would deny it, would run from it. Even when I got into church, different pastors and leaders would just come up to me and say, there's a strong calling on your life. You should be ministering in a pulpit. I don't know why you're not. But long story short is, I just, like I said, love the people, love just the gospel, and always, was adamant about if God called me to do something that, I wanted to be a blessing and not a hindrance, or, I wanted to give more than I take. So I always ran. And my wife would, when I started writing, she said, you can run, but you can't hide, because God always circles you back around, and you're gonna do what He, has gifted you to do, and that's what He's doing in your books. You're ministering and don't even realize it, that even though you're writing fiction, you're still ministering to people, and you're still doing what He's called you to do.
Amazing. I completely concur with that. And some people think that because they write, they think they don't have an impact on the world around them. But recently I've come to appreciate Alan Arnold's definition of creativity, where he says creativity is that ability to affect the atmosphere around you, to influence you. So it doesn't matter if you write, doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home dad, doesn't matter if you sweep up floors or mop, if you're an engineer, you have the impact to infect the atmosphere around you. And here you are using fiction to impact the atmosphere around you, as well as people who pick up your books from all over the world. And so it's really good that while people were speaking over your life, this talent that was within you was doing that for you. You know what I mean? As we talk about never letting go of Father's love, we're going to see how that talent comes out. So if you want to weigh in on our topic, make sure you call in at 646-668-8485 and then press 1 to be live on air. Now, Andre, you talked about how your wife helped to let you know you can write and everything. So what was it like writing your very first book, or rather, I should say, completing your very first book? What was that like? Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, long story short is, believe it or not, my wife is an adamant reader, and she loves to read. So whenever you're conversating with her, you have to really listen to the conversation, because you'll be so wrapped up in the conversation until she tells you that the conversation you're having is about a book that she's reading. So long story short is, we was on the way down to Florida to get on a cruise ship, and we was in this in-depth conversation about this young couple who was going through relationship issues and everything, and it really touched me, and I was really, concerned about it. So I said, well, why don't you set up a, couples dinner night, and then that way, we can, probably, try to talk to them, minister to them. And then she looked over at me and she said, who are you talking about? And I was like, the people you're talking about. She said, sweetie, I'm talking about a book I'm reading. So, of course, I was, shocked. And then so I said, well, I can write a book like that. And she said, oh, you can. And I said, yeah, I already wrote it. And she said, where is it at? I said, it's in my head. And so she said, what's the title? So I stopped. I prayed about it. And the title, Undercover Deacon, came out. And so when we got back, I wrote my first book. I prayed, I asked God, to give it to, give me what He wanted me to give to people, and allow the Holy Spirit to write it. And I wrote my first book in 5 days.
Wow. I am jealous. I am so jealous. I am beyond jealous right now. It took me 10 years to get my first book out, and you wrote yours in 5 days. Bless the Lord. Keep going. Tell us some more.
And I wrote the book in 5 days. And so when I was finished, I gave her, and I actually wrote it I actually hand wrote the book on paper, and then I turned around and typed it on my laptop, and then I gave it to her. She went out on the patio, came back in a couple hours later, and she was crying, and just literally crying, and I thought that she was upset and somebody had said something to her. So I went out, of course, being the husband, the protector, chest all poked out. I said, who's bothering you? She said, nobody is. She said, it's this book. I said, whose book you reading? She said, your book. I said, "Are you serious?" She said, "Yes." She said, "The anointing is all over this book, and I can't stop crying." And that's where it started.
I love hearing how people just pour that encouragement into others. And here your wife is pouring that encouragement, but it's not a false sense of encouragement. It's like, I can't believe my husband wrote this. And especially if she's an avid reader, because I'm an avid reader myself, so I actually understand what it's like to look at someone very closely, like my twin sister. When I read her stuff, I was like, wow, this is really, really good. I'm not just making it up because you're my sister, you know. And so I love how your wife was just that catalyst that's starting you on your path of writing. And that's just so phenomenal to hear that. For those of you who are listening in, we're going to take a quick short break, but you still have the opportunity to call in and talk to Andre by calling in at 646-668-8485 and then press 1 to be live on air, or hit me on Twitter at Parker J. Cole, hashtag Right Stuff, with your questions and comments. We'll be right back after these messages.
The Speculative Fiction Cantina is your weekly hypodermic injection of science fiction, fantasy, horror, alternate history, and things weird and wonderful in the world of books and writers. You'll hear from writers who bend the rules and drive the narrative. We ask authors the hard questions. We do the show in our pajamas. Join S. Evan Townsend on this journey over the rainbow and through the looking glass. The Speculative Fiction Cantina on Right Stream Radio every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Have you read the latest issue of Sormag Digital, the award-winning literary magazine for multicultural readers and writers? Sormag Digital is available quarterly and showcases interviews with the best authors in multicultural literature. Sormag Digital features craft and business articles for those interested in writing. If you're looking for a good book, check out our book reviews on what's hot in multicultural literature. For writers looking for new readers to get in front of, Sormag Digital is the perfect place to introduce your book. We offer advertising spaces that fit your promotional budget. Get your free subscription on Sormag.com or order a print issue on MagCloud.com. If you would like more information about Sormag Digital, check us out on Sormag.com or contact us at Sormag@yahoo.com. Sormag Digital is the magazine for multicultural readers and writers.
We're back, and you're hanging out with the queen of Tuesday night, Parker J. and her guests, right here on The Right Stuff.
Hi, and welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Right Stuff on WPJC 104.5. We are just getting started with our topic about never letting go of Father's love. But before then, we had to talk about Andre's background. And I'm always so fascinated how all our authors that have been showcased on this show, how they come to writing in so many different ways. And the person who helped Andre to become a writer was his wife, because she was an avid reader. For those of you listening in, this is why readers are so important to writers, because you help fuel our career. So make sure that when you read any book, especially my brother's book today, Never Letting Go of Father's Love, make sure you leave a review. Make sure you buy a copy and support my brother. Make sure you let him know how much you enjoyed it. Or rather, if you want to see some more writing for him, let him know. We'd love to hear from you. So go ahead, love on my brother, and get a copy of his book today. And then, Andre, once again, thanks for being on the show as we continue to talk about you, about your writing, and about your book. Now, with Never Letting Go of Father's Love, I found this on Goodreads. Someone else had left a review, and I saw the cover, which was absolutely phenomenal, and I said, I wonder what this book is about. And that was when I found Never Letting Go. And so just as a father, where did this idea come from? Was it from your own interactions with your kids, or with children you raised as kids? Where did that idea come from?
Good question. And so many people have asked me about the books that I have written, and the first thing that comes out is these books about you? And and the answer is no. They're not. Mm-hmm. And like I tell everybody, that every book that I have written, every page, every word, every precept upon precept has not been done without first praying and seeking the face of God and allowing the Holy Spirit to write each word. Every book has been written that way. And this book in particular when the title came to me, I prayed and I said, Lord, you give me what the people need, but make it where it touches lives and impacts lives, and that's where each character came from, was just praying and just asking God, to help me write the book, and that's where it came from. Now, I have seen the situations in the book personally through other people's lives and people that are close to me, and where the book originated from was out of Raleigh, North Carolina, where I grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I wanted to write a book that was home based and paying homage to my city and give them a shout out as well as give back, because I believe in giving back, and I felt that was a way of giving back. What was to put the background coming out of Raleigh.
You said from Raleigh, North Carolina, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, Raleigh. One thing I like about your book is the style is almost, I want to say, minimalist, because you don't waste a lot of time with minute details that we don't need, but you really have the story going through dialogue. Because what's very interesting about the dialogue is that you can imagine what's going on. You can see the expressions on people's faces, even if you're not relating to that. And I really like that style, that minimalist style of writing, because the story is constantly moving forward. The book reads very quickly. It doesn't read slow at all. I'm sure people have told you that, right, Andre? They told you that your books read very quick, right?
Right, yeah, and people say it was a quick read, short read, and I purposely, written all the books like that, because you have to remember, when people are going through situations, they're not going through situations in like a time lapse that they have time to deal with each and every moment. They're quick moving moments, they're life changing moments, and then some of them are so impactful that that they either bounce back or they have a hard time recovering. So each book that I've written, I want to get you in the moment, get you in the situation, get you caught up in, with each character's life, because, when you're going through a crisis, it's not slow moving, it's fast moving, and I did, so I wanted to be that impactful while you read it.
Yeah. And a lot of times you don't have a lot of chance to think, because when calamity comes, it comes very quickly. And sometimes it doesn't move slowly. Sometimes you're sitting there and you're watching, TV, eating ice cream, and next thing you know, you get a call, and everything changes from that moment. And so with that, with never letting go, a lot of this happens, and it starts to derail very quickly. And that's what I appreciated about the book, was the fact that it happened so quickly, and you're looking around like, oh my goodness, how is that? Whoa! It's kind of like what happens is that it's what's the word I want to use? I think about that big giant rock in Indiana Jones coming down the tunnel. It's kind of like what happens in the book. You just running from this massive rock that is set on crushing you. And so, one of the things I want to do is talk about the characters in the book, because the characters are quite memorable. And the first one, obviously, is, the protagonist of the story, which is Matthew, which is the father, and he's dealing with his daughter. Now, I got to tell you, Andre, and this is just me, I grew up old school, and so I was reading Amber's, I'm going to say listening, because I could hear her voice in my head, but I was reading Amber's words, and I was like, she is talking a little bit too much. That's all I could think of, right? And I was like, back in the day, if I had said what to my parents, I was getting hit in the mouth. But I said, she is saying more than what, and she is talking too much. But it kind of shows how our youth are. What are you using, or what are you trying to portray through Amber's actions with her father about the state of our youth today? Do you think this is a lack of disrespect, no lack of honor? When you use Amber's reactions to her father, who's only trying to take care of her, who's going through his own pain right now, and she's no help, what are you trying to show through Amber's character?
Right. What I was trying to relate through her character, just like, you hit it, the nail right on the head, is today's, youth are not like yesterday's youth. And so they're more outspoken, they're more, consciously, attached to, their own words. Whereas before, parents, would give the kids what to say and what not to say. But today's youth, were more in touch with, speaking out. And that's what I wanted to relay through Amber, that, this is a young lady who is very upset, because of the loss of her mother. But, she doesn't hold back her resentment and her frustration towards her father, and she doesn't bite her tongue. And so that's what I wanted to relate through her character, because a lot of today our youth are, like I said, very emotional, and they say whatever's on their mind without the the fear of retaliation or punishment, because parents today don't punish their kids like yesterday's parents. It's more time out. Let's talk. We'll talk later, or we'll, take your electronic devices away. But so I wanted to get her engaged and her personality, so that way people see that she's human, but also how far detached we a little bit we have come from the disciplinary process of communicating.
And I felt that, and I knew, the thing is, Matthew dealt with it because he was going through so much himself. And I was like, because I kept thinking, there is no way this would be going on if his wife did not just pass away. I mean, there is just no way. I was like, there's just no way. No way. And I love how relatable Matthew is, because he's doing a lot. All of a sudden, he went from having a wife, even though she was deathly sick and she died. He went from having a partner in life to now he doesn't, And so that brings me to my next thing, and that was Sister Sharon. Now, for those of you, you have to read. Okay. I'm not going to give anything away, but I got to give you this one spoiler. And I'm going to tell y'all this now. The woman was just buried, and Sister Sharon showed up at their house already saying, look at this house. This is about to be mine. That's all she did. She just walked away from the coffin in the ground, okay? And when you have Sister Sharon's character, for myself, you can please expand on that. For myself, you kind of let us know that there are people who are only looking for an opportunity that's going to benefit them. No matter what's going on in your life, they're only looking for an opportunity that's going to benefit them. That's kind of like what I got. You go ahead and tell us what you think.
And right, and once again, like I said, I can tell that you're an avid reader, because you picked up on the character of Sister Sharon. Because I wanted to relay the humanality and the realistic part about it, and where even though Matthew was suffering a loss, her main objective was, now here's my opportunity to, walk through the door and just completely take over and erase all the, pre-existence of, his wife. And, and there, there's people out there like that, male or female, because the human emotion, we're all attached, by emotion and and physicalities, and at some point during their friendship or relationship, she became attached to him, and where I'm not saying that she didn't feel remorse or anything about the wife dying, but she's like okay.
Tell.
Right, because I'm living in the moment, I'm living in the present, and I'm ready to move on, whether you're ready or not. We're going this way.
I love that, and I just bust out laughing, because her whole thought process. And for those of you listening, when you get Andre's book, Never Letting Go of Father's Love, what he does is lets us see what a lot of the different cast of characters are thinking, And I actually appreciate that, because you start to see it from different points of view. So it's not just in one view, which a lot of authors do. I know myself, I do that too, but seeing it from different points of view kind of gives you a better picture of what's going on. And then how one person reacts to the same situation, another person views differently. That's how it happens in life too, and that's how it happens in calamity. Like for Sister Sharon, even though Fancy was dead, too bad, so sad, here's my turn. That's kind of like like that's the impression I got from Sister Sharon. So sorry for your loss, but life goes on. I'm here for you. And so she was an opportunist, and so I actually liked her character because she was she was a mess. That's all you could describe her. She was a mess. And so what I want to do is now talk to you about pain, dealing with pain for a minute, because Matthew is going through so much. It takes his mind. It's not that he doesn't forget his children, but it's a lot going on. And can you talk to about how we cannot allow calamity to cover or fog our minds up about the things going on around us?
Right. And that's one of the, the biggest things that, I wanted to convey in this book is that even though Matthew was, going through, horrific situation, which, nobody ever wants to deal with, especially, the loss of, not just, a wife, but, a companion and, a soulmate. But at the same time, where it states in the book is, he has 3 children to look after, and not just 3 children, but, a teenage daughter that is becoming a woman of her own. And so he has to, somewhat pull back the reins on his emotion and not just keep his family, together, but also, usher her into her, adulthood at the same time. And how can, you do that and still, keep your emotions under control? That's a lot for any person to deal with, and much less like a male. And because women have more control over their feelings in certain situations, and especially when it comes to holding a family together. And so now he's the sole partaker of trying to keep everybody under control, and at the same time, be the disciplinary in his house. But, how do I be the disciplinary, be the friend, and be the father? All these emotions are tied up, and at what point do I break down and, and I deal with the loss of, my wife, and that was, the biggest thing with him is, all the, he's forced to wear all of these hats and at one time. So, and who is his support system?
And that is so true. And I think sometimes men, and this is just my opinion, Andre, so I'm not men bashing or anything like that, but I think sometimes men are taught that they have to bear this brunt and they have to bear this burden all by themselves, and they're not really fully relying on the Lord to let them know that you can lean your head on my shoulders, And I like how with Matthew, because as things start to climax in the story, Matthew starts to realize, oh my goodness, I've got to take care of my family, and I can't do it alone, And the thing about Matthew is this: I like his portrayal being a protector, and it shows just how vital the position of father and that responsibility of father is. Because like in your title, you say a father's love, and a father, he's going to love his children, but he also has to protect them. And so kids growing up being rebellious, they don't understand that these actions that your parents take, they're to protect you because they don't want bad things to happen to you, which starts to happen for Amber. And so when you're writing Matthew, were you trying to really touch on how a father's love is not just about discipline, it's also about protection? What do you think?
And which is correct, because to give you some, 2 visuals, when I wrote the story of Matthew, I wanted to pretty much portray the symbol of a rock and also the symbol of a sponge, because, oftentimes, as men, we're taught to be the rock, the boulder, that stands in the doorway to block off everything, to, absorb it, to just ward off everything. But we're not easily taught to be the sponge that soaks up everything, that comes, to wipe away the tears, to deal with the emotion, to have those, in-depth conversations. Okay, I understand what you're going through. This is what we need to do. It's, most of the time it's a one sentence thing. Well, this is what we're going to do, and whether you like it or not. But And so that's what I wanted to, Matthew's character was to be, the rock and, the protector, but also be the sponge to help absorb all of those emotions that were coming from Amber, and then show her, that, regardless of what you feel and what you think, I'm here for you, and I'm going to, squeeze that sponge, and I'm going to pour back out my love, onto you. Until you finally, absorb it and it sinks in that I'm just not here, just to push you away, but I'm here to, to take you in and to usher you into your womanhood.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you would say usher you into your womanhood, because just like little girls need moms, little girls also need dads, because dads can look at prospective mates and know exactly what's going on. Like women can read women, men can read men. And also, they help their daughters understand that it's okay, this is how you treat, you see how my wife treats me, you want to reciprocate in a similar manner. There's a lot of things that men can teach women, just like there are a lot of things women can teach men. It's not that, you need just men or you need just women. No, we need both of you. And that is what Matthew realizes. He always knew it, but now with his wife being gone, he just realizes that massive responsibility of being a single parent now that his wife was gone. We're going to go ahead and take another quick break. When we come back, we'll be talking more to Andre Ray and his book, Never Letting Go, A Father's Love. If you want to talk to him, you can by calling in at 646-668-8485 and then press 1 to be live on air, or you can hit me on Twitter at Parker J. Cole, #RightStuff with your questions and comments. We'll be right back after these messages.
Don't go anywhere. More with Parker and her guests on the Right Stuff Radio Show. We'll be right back.
God gives humans the gift of making amazing stories to glorify Him. At speculativefaith.com, our ministry is to help fans explore fantasy, science fiction, supernatural stories, and beyond from an intentional and biblical Christian perspective. We share daily articles and have extensive archives tackling hot topics like end times beliefs, the art of writing, creative excellence in the Christian subcultures, discernment, sex, magic, Harry Potter, and space aliens and the Bible. If you are a parent or anyone else with a discriminating palate, our reviewers explore fantastical novels, movies, television, and games in light of God's beauty, goodness, and truth. Want to find Christian stories? The Spec Faith Library lists every fantastical novel we can find from a Christian author. It's all part of our mission to discern, engage, and enjoy fantastical human creativity in honor of our Creator, Jesus Christ. SpeculativeFaith.com, exploring fantastical stories for God's glory.
Hi, is your book club in need of some fresh and exciting questions to ask club members and authors at your next book club meeting? Literations, the book conversation game, is 70 thought-provoking questions to really get into an in-depth discussion about the books you and your club members are reading. These questions really get into the characters, the storyline, and into the author's head. These questions may just give you and your book club members a whole new way to get into a new conversation, a literation. Literations is also a great set of tools for bloggers, interviewers, and authors to use as discussion questions. Are you ready to get lit? Please visit our website at litversations.com, LITVER.com. And please like our Facebook page at Simply Said Reading Accessories. Thank you.
Question: if you write a book, everybody will rush out to buy it. Obvious answer, no. If you were a celebrity or if you had a huge marketing budget, then maybe you can get a lot of exposure for your book. Another solution would be to check out joeytweets.com. joeytweets.com is a promotion and marketing service with access to over 1/3 of a million followers on Twitter. joeytweets.com has 3 packages available to fit any budget. That's joeytweets.com. joeytweets.com. Get some serious exposure for your books.
We're back, and you're hanging out with the queen of Tuesday night, Parker J. and her guests, right here on The Right Stuff.
Hi, and welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Right Stuff here on WPJC 104.5. So glad you're here with me. To know any and everything about me, make sure you visit my website, parkerjcole.com. If you want to connect with me, feel free to connect with me there on Facebook. Love to hear from you. And if you ever want to be on this show, contact me by simply going to my website via that way at parkerjcole.com or email me at rightstuffradio@gmail.com. Would love to have you on the show. And we are talking to Andre Ray. He is the author of the book, Never Letting Go, A Father's Love. It is a fast-paced thriller, and what you want to do is go right now to Amazon.com and get a copy of this book today. You won't be disappointed. It moves very quickly, and that's what I really appreciate about the story. One thing Andre said is that when calamity strikes, it doesn't take its time. It kind of just goes, and then it keeps going and going and going. And so that's kind of what happens in this book. Matthew, our main character, is already dealing with a difficult situation, the passing of his wife, Fancy. But now he has a hard-headed little teenage daughter who knows better than daddy. And guess what? He has to decide whether to let go and let God or if he's going to take care of it himself. So I want you to go ahead and get a copy of this book today. Again, it's available on Amazon.com or wherever books are sold. And Andre, once again, thanks for being with us on the show to talk about the book and talk about your writing and your view about things. One thing I noticed in the book about the character was Keith. Keith has to be every person's nightmare, and he's every silly little girl's dream. So before we get into Keith, I got to ask you this question, just coming from a male perspective. Why do good girls love bad boys?
That's an open-ended question. And
no easy answer, right?
Well, yeah, there's no easy answer because I think it's based on, the particular situation and, particular surroundings of that individual's, life, whether, it's the area that they live in or just their friends that they associate with or what's going on in their home. And I think a lot of times, we're attracted to either, the opposite of what we were told not to engage in, or we're attracted to what makes us feel better because, self-worth is a big part of everybody's, existence. And if you diminish that in any way or hinder that in any way, that person is going to go find what, fits that puzzle to make them feel, self-worth. And a lot of times, if you speak negative into somebody's life, it don't take but a second for somebody to come along, whether it's a good person or a bad person, and to say the right thing, and now that person is attached to them, not because it may not always be because they're a bad boy. It may just be because they spoke something positive in their life, and now, they're attached to them because they make them feel, like, hey, I'm somebody.
Yeah. And it's kind of the same way for the bad boys too. Why are they attracted to the good girls? And for that matter, I almost think women create these things, and this is probably unfair, but when you're younger, to me, it seems you're more attracted to the rebel, the thug, the gang member, because they're exciting and dangerous. But as the older you get, you realize I don't need instability and crazy. I want steady, steadfast, normal, whatever normal is, and someone I can trust who could be with me. So I almost think maybe in some way we create that, because with Amber, when it comes to Keith, at first she's all encouraging of his attitude. She encourages that. What do you think? Am I hitting it on the nail? What do you think?
Well, I'm going to tell you a true story, and without names and dates. And this is, coming from a bad boy's perspective. I was in a conversation with a young man who was definitely, in the streets, doing what he does, and he was in the apartment, and believe it or not, his mother was in the apartment at the same time. and the young lady was not there, and she was average girl, average looking, worked 3 jobs, to do what she needed to do. He didn't work any jobs, just had his vehicle and everything that he wanted on it, and making his money the way he wanted to make it. And so I asked him point blank, why are you in this girl's life? And at the time, I didn't know that was his mother. I thought it was her mother. And he looked at me, and he said that, you see that vehicle outside with the big rims and everything, you see everything I got on. I said, yeah. He said, that's all I care about. And, that's my life. And he said, the only reason I'm in her life because she allows me to. And I can take advantage of it. And until she wises up and see me for who I am, I'll be right here. And so I looked at the lady and I said, ma'am, aren't you concerned about your daughter? And she looked at me and she said, son, she said, I don't know that girl. She said, this is my son. She said, I just came over here because I just wanted to see what, he got going on this time with this one. And as long as he's not laying on my couch, I can care less what he do to her. And
I think that's a sober warning for all of us out there who are attracted to that dangerous element,
Right. And that goes back to, like I was saying earlier, about self-worth. It may not be, like I said, that, his bad boy lifestyle. He probably, knew the right thing to say. He, talked to her long enough to understand, what she was going through emotionally, and knew what buttons to push and to open, certain doors in her life. Now, to make her, attached to him because she, because something he said or something he did, allowed her to have that moment of what she felt was self-worth. And so regardless of, that he didn't work or didn't, and how he got his money, whatever, it's just the fact that when she was around him, he made her feel like, hey, now I'm somebody.
So he preyed on her emotions, and there are some people who would do that, even women. And I'm using men right now because we're just talking from that perspective, but there are women who would do that. A man will be working his tail off, taking care of her, and she won't lift a finger, and she's only going to take exactly what she could get from him until she drives him out. And there are real cases of that. I remember, I'm a huge fan of American Greed, Andre. I'm a huge fan of that show. And that show, oh, my gosh, the one attorney, I don't know what voodoo she had, but she made these men fall for her. And then she would take them from all their money, and then she would leave and go to the next one, And there are just like men who can make you feel that way and make you feel good. Women can do the same thing. And so that's what it comes down to, why the foundation has to start with our parents. Our parents are that important foundation has to start with the parents. And that's why in your book, Never Letting Go, A Father's Love, Matthew has to come out of his grief long enough to take care of his family. He can't let that go because she was already kind of mouthy, but with her mom being sick and the reason why she's so angry at her father, he had to get it together too. And that's eventually what happens in the book, but you got to find out more about it. I don't want to give too much away. I don't give too much away at all, but like I said, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I truly did. Like I said, moves very quickly. But Keith, going back to Keith being the thug and the bad boy, Keith's character really showed Amber how low a man can get and how much he may want to do better by you, but he literally just can't do better by you. And so let's talk to that for a moment when you talk about how a real father's love is going to do the very best that it can. But someone who does not have your best interest at heart, they may say they love you, but when it really comes down to it, they really don't love you like they say they do. Go ahead and speak to that for me.
Right, because, going back to, like the young man said, the situation allowed, he was just living in the moment, in the situation, and it fitted his needs for the moment. And just like, he said, that until she wakes up and sees me for who I am, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And that's what, emotion, whether you have to understand, am I being loved? Am I in love? Or just the pretense of being loved? And then you have to look at the whole situation of what's going on in your life to see, is, this person, really supporting me, or this person just, like you said, using the situation as an opportunity, and then using the word love as the remote control of our connection. Mm-hmm. Because when you say that word, it unleashes all of these emotions, all these feelings, and it's like it's like a catch-all safety net. Is no matter what we're going through, or what I'm putting you through, as soon as I say I love you, then you bounce back and say, oh, mm-hmm. I guess it'll be all right in a few weeks or a few months because they love me, and really, you don't yet really understand the definition of the love that this person is conveying, because in your mind, love is this, but in their actions, love is just, behind the scenes, thing. But I really don't love you, but I just love the situation that I'm in.
Yeah, and that can happen, and we all probably have some stories that we can all share. That's one thing about the book. I was like, I know people who have done this. I've seen this happen in some way or form or fashion. That's what makes your books really relatable, is that I've seen people in these situations, and I go, wow, it sucks to be you. Kind of like, if I can say it facetiously, it sucks to be you, And, it's so interesting because with your books, you just really just take us down this road, and you are just like rooting for Matthew to get it together. You're rooting for Amber, like, oh, Lord, girl, please walk away. And then you just and then you get mad at the characters. It almost like I was there, and I really appreciated how you were able to put me in that moment, and they were so relatable to these characters. And you talk about grief, you talk about fatherhood, you talk about children obeying their parents, and all this kind of stuff, the consequences of disobedience and everything. And that's what I really enjoyed about it. So for my listeners out there, go ahead and get a copy of Never Letting Go of Father's Love today. It's on Amazon.com, wherever books are sold. Make sure you go ahead and get a copy of that today. And Andre, we're about 5 minutes before we have to shut down. It always goes so fast. And so I want to give people an opportunity to connect with you. So go ahead. Well, before I do that, what are some of your next projects? I know you have a slew of books out there, but what are some of your next projects coming up right now so people can know what you're working on?
Well, right now I have several books in the works. Don't want to give the titles away because I always like to to be suspenseful. But just know that that more books are coming, and they will be just as the rest of them impactful, meaningful, but also very, very relatable situations, because I just don't want to, put pen to paper just to push books out there just to say, I got this many books. I want, each book to be meaningful and impact. And then where, as a reader, you say, you know what, I'm glad I read that book, and it's something that I can carry over, past putting it down.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that, but you do got some stuff in the works, so that's good. So I want to have people to have an opportunity to connect with you online. So go ahead and share with us your social media outlets.
Yes, I'm hoping that people that are listening, you can connect with me on my Twitter page is at praise 32. Also, I have a Facebook page. Just Andre Ray on Facebook, and also my Amazon page is amazon.com/author/Andre Ray, where you can see my whole bio and all the books that I write, and it will show you how to get each book, and also my Instagram page, which is author Andre Ray. Is up, and where you can also connect with me, and also like I said, through Facebook page. Also have a Facebook like page, which is author Andre Ray, which, through all my pages you can connect with me, through instant messenger, or you can just leave me a message, and I'll always reply back because I check them every day, and I'm very, concerned about feedback from readers. So if you ask a question or if you have a comment, trust me, I will get back with you. And also, all my books can be found on Goodreads as well.
Andre, this show is always about encouraging authors to write, and I want to thank you so much for sharing your journey to writing, how your wife was such a huge catalyst to that, which I absolutely love. I'm a hopeless romantic, and I love that your wife was such a huge catalyst to that, and that her love for reading eventually turned you into a minister of writing to reach so many people about the love of God, about situations in our life that we can't handle, and that you're using Never Letting Go, a father's love, to minister to someone. So I'm really excited to have you on the show today, and I can't wait to have you back, because I'm really, I love having return guests because I'm interested in relationships with people. So please see this as an outlet for you to whenever you have your next book come out, to come on the show. We can talk about it. And so what I want you to do is, in a few moments we have left, encourage those authors out there whom God has given the gift to write to go ahead and do that. Go ahead and encourage us today.
I would encourage every person listening that has the aspiration to write. First of all, you are a writer. Everybody has at least one book in their spirit that is willing, dying to come out. Don't procrastinate. Don't hesitate. Just, whether you write it or you on your laptop or your computer, just get it out. Don't worry about, trying to do chapters. Don't worry about trying to edit the format. Just get it out of your head, get it out of your spirit, and then go back and, clean it up. So I encourage, like I said, every person that just, sitting there like, I want to write a book. What do I do? Just start writing, start typing. Just, even if you just, turn over, a blank piece of paper, you walk in, put the mail down, and something comes to your spirit, just write it down, and just, worry about putting it together later, but just get it out of your spirit. Don't let nobody, tell you different, well, I don't think you can do it. Yes, you can, because you already done it. If you can think it and you speak it, it's already done. Just be encouraged. Like I said, I didn't know I could write. I started off with one book. Here, 7 books later, and I wrote 7 books in almost less than 2 years. So, that should be an encouragement just for somebody who never wrote. And most important, after you write it, I can't say this enough. Get an editor, because I self-edited. It didn't work until I got a professional editor, because I wanted everything that I wrote to go over and be a blessing and not a hindrance, where people just kept asking, what does that say? What does that say? So if you got early copies of my books, they all been re-edited and to where they need to be. So I strive for perfection. The Bible tells strive for perfection, and if you're going to put something out there, you want it to be correct. And also tell you any aspiring author, connect with Parker J. Cole. She is a great inspiration, and if you just stuck somewhere, trust me, you need to connect with her. Through her social media accounts, or just reach out to her, because she's been an inspiration to me. So I just think, like I said, encourage you just to go, go for it. Don't hold back. Just give it all you got.
Andre, thank you for the shout out. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you, because it's honestly true. I say it to all my listeners and people I connect with. If I can help you, I will. And that's as simple as it gets, And for all our authors out there, I know for you, if you want help with Andre, talk to him. He'll help you. Most of the authors I have on here, I can say most of them, all of them that I have had on the show are willing to help. So if you need anything from either of us, please reach out to us and let us know. And Andre, once again, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be with us on the show today.
I just thank you for the opportunity, and once again, like I said, it's been a blessing just to be able to spend this time with you.
And we were talking today to Andre Ray. He is the author of the book Never Letting Go, A Father's Love. It's available on Amazon.com or wherever books are sold. Go ahead and get a copy of this wonderful novel today, and then make sure you browse through all his other works, and then make sure you connect with him on Twitter. His Twitter handle is Praised32, that's Praised 32, and he also has his Amazon page so you connect with him as well. So make sure you connect with Andre and make sure you let him know how much you enjoyed his stories by getting a copy of that today. And as always, thank you so much for joining me. I'm the Queen of Tuesday Nights, Parker J. You have a wonderful, absolutely glorious, blessed day.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of The Right Stuff. Follow Parker online at parkerjcole.com. To hear this show and other shows, visit the show archive at therightstuffradio.wordpress.com. We'll be back same time next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.